So we thought we'd have a bit of a look at the breakdown of the election results yesterday. We'll bring up the actual electoral map, and you can have a look very clearly at this. That blue is Hillary, red is Trump. The dark red are the states he flipped, and the pink are both Trump as well, but they're kind of at 99%. There's a few still to come in, so they're basically being won by Trump as well. Light blue up in the top right there is still being counted, but it's going to go for Hillary. So that's the overall look at the map. You always have the population bases, New York, California, more people, but they call it flyover country in America. The red states being sort of middle America, as they say. But I thought guys would have a look at some of the results. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Some of them are fairly obvious. Let's have a look at Q5, for example. These are exit polls. The young people voted for Clinton. The older people voted for Trump, as you'd expect.
Expected.
All right, so let's look at gender. Men voted for Trump, women voted for Clinton.
That one is slightly more interesting, is the drill down into that is that non-college educated white women have voted for Trump 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that has to be a population that Hillary feels that she missed the boat on.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at race and gender. It's another gender, some more gender stats we've got. These are from CNN's exit polling, by the way. And you can see that white men and women voted for Trump. Kind of everybody else voted for, like there are groups within the groups, but as an overall look. What about income? As you'd expect for income, the wealthier voted for Trump, the less wealthy voted for Clinton. Now, the ones that are really interesting, and I think personally that this is where the election has been won and lost. Let's go to Q9. The opinion of the presidential candidate you voted for. Now, you can see, if you liked Clinton, you voted for Clinton. If you liked Trump, you voted for Trump. But if you didn't like either of them, particularly, you voted for Trump. Now, it is only a small margin. Well, it's 10%, isn't it? But you voted for Trump. And we can go into the next one, which candidate is honest as well. So if you thought Clinton was honest, you voted for her. If you thought Trump was honest, you voted for him. If you thought neither of them was honest, you voted for him. And as you'll notice in the top line there, no one thought that they were both honest, basically. Same again if you qualified to serve as president. If you thought he was qualified, you voted for him. If you thought she was qualified, you voted for her. If you thought both were qualified, you voted for him. And if you thought neither was qualified, you voted for him. Now, I think that these are the places where he won, because a lot of them were really obvious: gender, race, age. But these ones, so in other words, if you liked neither of them, and a lot of those were the independents which he won, you voted for him. That's where he won it.
I mean, that's this thing of people voting against the establishment, even for someone they don't really particularly like, aren't they? So I mean, you know, again, there's something in there that they hate about what's been happening for however many years, and again, I'm not sure what it is, but yeah.
Further to your point, Tim, about women as well, let's just have a look at Q12. This is one that really fascinated me. So this is how, you know, Trump's treatment of women bother you. If it bothered you a lot, you voted for Clinton. If you didn't care about it, you voted for him. But the second line down there, some. Now I read that if it somewhat bothered you. If it somewhat bothered you how he treated women, you still voted for Trump 3-1. That, to me, is an unbelievable stat. So people are saying, yeah, it somewhat bothers me, but I'll still vote for him.
Well, I think that's that Rust Belt population, the white working class woman that have seen, yeah, I'm not thrilled about Trump, but I trust him more than I trust Hillary, and that's what divided it.
Probably also the religious vote, because those white evangelicals came out strongly again, and the religious people are very much been saying, oh, you know, we don't like the words he's using, but you know, he's going to make America great again. So
and Hillary, unfortunately, is still in the shadow of Bill, and what Bill did in the White House has really caused negative resonations for her. You know, the fact that she stuck by him through all of that has counted against her.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm looking at my phone right now, I apologise for doing this, but I wanted to get it right, is that Hillary Clinton got more votes. It's another one of these elections where the person who received more votes is not the president. Looking at the live update as I speak to you, they both got 59 million, right? And then some. She got 796,000, he got 589,000. She got 47.7% of the vote, he got 47.5%. Now I know that's incredibly close, but this is now the 6th election out of the last 7 where the Democratic candidate has received more votes than the Republican. The only time the Republicans have received more votes is 2004, George W. Bush. This is since 1992. George W. Bush, and they were in a time of war. So what that means is for 6 of the last 7 elections, the Democratic person has received more votes. Under an MMP type system, the Democratic person would have been president.
I think what they need is a parliamentary system with an STV voting system, and also like anywhere that's got a president is somewhere it's like not so good. If you've got a prime minister, New Zealand, Canada, great countries like that, it all works very well, doesn't it? So they need to get rid of the president, have a prime minister, STV. I think they'd be fine.
Well, it's the downside of the electoral college, isn't it?
Of course.
That's what occurs. And I saw Stephen Colbert talking about it last night, saying that he feels that the Founding Fathers probably wanted to be hard to understand, so that for 4 years we'd have relative peace and prosperity between the people, there wouldn't be these political divides, and then every 4 years you cared about politics, you ticked your box.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go past that, because I don't think the American people understand this system. They don't understand what they're voting for, and that's right from choosing the candidate through to choosing the president.
I also just think, finally, on that point of the popular vote, surely a country that sells itself as the greatest democracy in the world, the country that tries to take democracy to other parts of the world, should follow some kind of democratic system that says the person who gets the most votes, i.e. the most popular, democratically should be the person who leads the country. I know that's not the system they've got, but what I'm suggesting is the system they've got doesn't seem democratic from the most democratic country in the world.
Well, that was the argument in New Zealand, of course, when
MMP,
National
yeah.
used to win and without the most vote, and we've done something about it, so maybe it's their turn.
It's hard to know what would happen with the proportions, though, if that counted. There's a system that allows the candidates to get in without you having to go and do your bit, because you know if you're a Texan, you're voting for Trump.
Yeah, so there are some states that aren't. So that's what comes down to the battleground states, the half dozen states or so, 10 or so, that really it does make a difference with, and they're the ones that decide. But even that means all the other states are kind of almost out of the election. That doesn't seem particularly democratic either. Every vote should count, and the only way every vote should count is to go to some kind of popular vote system.